Hello friends, welcome to Mont Recap channel. Today I'm going to review a great movie from 2014 called We Still Kill the Old Way. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. The film begins with Richie, a middle-aged man and a retired mob boss, showing him shooting training. He is a British citizen who retired as a mafia boss and lives in Spain for his retirement. Richie is certainly not an ordinary person. His wealth can be seen from his luxurious houses and cars. Richie and his girlfriend Carmen were having lunch that day and he says he misses his older brother Charlie who lives in England. The scene then changes to show Charlie talking to his friends about Richie in the past. At the same time, he talks to Richie in Spain on the phone. The brothers talk to each other about what happened, then Charlie rejoins his friends and Richie talks to a friend named Lizzie. Richie's friend approaches Charlie because she has been interested in him for a long time and Charlie, knowing that he is the right person, finally agrees to be intimate with her and gets her phone number. Meanwhile, Aaron and Lauren are a couple walking down a deserted street in London. A gang leader is being pursued by taking his wife to a gang of gangsters in a narrow alley, trying to trap her. They even deliberately record their actions. One of the teenage gangsters tries to stop his friends from harassing Lauren, but Aaron stops him. Until Charlie finally gets there, he hears commotion behind the bar. Charlie sees the gangsters trying to harass a woman, and then asks Lauren to leave. He reprimands the group, but they insult Charlie instead, so he punches one of them. Enraged by his actions, Aaron orders the gang to kill him. Later that day, Lizzie, who leaves the bar to look for Charlie, is nowhere to be found and informs the two detectives, Susan Taylor and John. Unfortunately, both detectives are unable to arrest Aaron and her gang due to lack of evidence. In addition, Lizzie did not see the incident directly, and she only saw a group of gangsters coming out of the small alley where Charlie was found dead. He then tells Richie that he is devastated to hear about Charlie's death, and Richie tells him that he plans to return to England. The scene then resumes and we are shown police detectives Susan and John talking in a car. They approach Aaron and her gang and threaten them that if they are accused of killing Charlie, they will arrest Aaron and her gang and put them in jail. However, Aaron seems to deny the allegations and chooses to go to her friends after the two detectives leave. She asks her friends to silence Lauren, who witnessed their attack, as she was also present at the scene. Dan discovers the plan and sneaks over to her house and tells her that Aaron is coming to threaten her. Dan also reminds her that he should stay home for her safety. After that, Aaron and several members of the gang come to Lauren's house, who forces the girl to keep quiet and not tell the police about the events that killed Charlie. If Lauren tells the police at this point, he threatens to kill her and her mother somewhere else. At this point, Richie immediately arrives in England and meets Roy, one of his men. Richie then comes to Lizzie to find out what happened to Charlie. Lizzie tells him that she did not see it with her own eyes. However, he believes that the criminals who killed Charlie are gangsters who often cause trouble in London. Afterwards, Richie and Roy go to the crime scene where Charlie was killed. Maram learns that Richie is the most respected mob boss from the past, and they meet Susan and John, who are there investigating the case. Susan asks them to take the matter to the police. However, he does not want to hand over the case of his friend's death to the police. But he finds a video of Aaron and her gang stalking Lauren at a bar at night. Lizzie believes that the video was about Charlie's death. He advises Richie to take the case to the police. Richie agrees to turn the case over to the police before leaving. Lizzie, who recognizes Lauren, then gives Richie the address of Lauren's workplace. Afterwards, Richie asks Lauren about the events that led to her friend's death, and she feels indebted to Charlie, finally telling her the details in a quiet place around her workplace. He tells Richie that Charlie's killer is a local gang led by Aaron. However, unbeknownst to either of them, a girl from Aaron's gang sees him. Meanwhile, Lauren tells him about what the criminals did to Charlie. The gang member returns to headquarters and tells Aaron that Lauren told a man named Richie about the incident. Aaron, who thought Richie was a normal middle-aged man, didn't care at all. The scene then changes to show Richie and his fellow mobsters gathered at Charlie's funeral. Soon after, when an old man named Arthur arrives, Richie jokes with Arthur to leave because he's too old to hang out with them. Arthur gets angry when he hears this, and he tells Richie that he's the only one who can beat him because of that joke. Richie and the others laugh over the conversation. He thanks Arthur for only friends gathering now. After the funeral, Richie meets an acquaintance. He is a retired police commissioner named Jack who lives in an ordinary house. He asks Jack to help him find information about Erin and her gang. If Jack agrees to help Richie, Richie promises to give Jack some of his wealth so that he can live a good life in retirement. A few days later, Jack gives information about some gangsters. Unfortunately, he can't find any information about the leader of the group, Erin. Based on this information, Richie asks his friends to kidnap 2 gang members. These young men also see that the criminals who kidnapped them are a group of old men. The boys ignore Erin's whereabouts. On the other hand, they bully Richie and his friends. They weren't even afraid to threaten Richie and his friends. Upon seeing this, Richie and his friends simply laugh at them, as the 2 young men they kidnapped seem to have no idea that Charlie was a real crime boss in the past. Charlie begins to lose his temper. When Arthur hears Richie's order, he unhesitatingly starts taking nails and hammers from behind. Arthur drives the nail into the guy's hand and he doesn't stop with boo. He takes the drill and starts drilling the man's legs. A black man suddenly panics when he sees his friend being tortured like this. He doesn't want them to torture him, and like his friends, he agrees to help Richie, telling him they'll find Erin's hiding place. Richie's friends obviously don't believe him, but Richie unexpectedly him dead, and Richie says that he doesn't trust the man either. He didn't just want to kill a helpless person. Then they laugh again. Soon after, when they try to interrogate the second man, unbeknownst to them, he has died of torture elsewhere. Erin just seems pissed that 2 of her group members have gone missing. He thinks that his group was attacked by his gangster enemy. The next day, Richie returns to Lauren and asks for Erin's help in finding the rest of the gang. He tells Richie that a gang member named JB will be in the parking lot. He says he feels guilty for continuing to see Lauren, and he finally asks for her phone number. A detective named Susan, who turns out to be her mother, asks Richie not to involve her daughter in this case. In the next scene, we see a member of the gang who sees Arthur alone in the parking lot. He thinks Arthur is an old man with only a week to live and he tries to scare Arthur. However, Arthur shows the man on the bicycle his sword. Unknowingly, he immediately tries to escape from there by pressing the pedal. So the car is being driven by Richie's friends, and Arthur's presence in the parking lot is enough to trap a gang member. Kidnapped by Richie and his friends, the man is seen bound and hanged in an abandoned building. Richie asks him again where Erin is. Unfortunately, he doesn't reveal any information about Erin and her gang, which humiliates them all. He even makes fun of the late Charlie in front of them because they hear Richie get angry and yell that Charlie was like a stupid dog when he beat him to death, so Richie kills him. Unfortunately, at this point, Richie's illness puts him in the hospital. He needs treatment. A few days later, Erin and her gang are seen preparing weapons to fight off attacks by enemy gangs. However, Lauren unexpectedly arrives at headquarters to meet him. Lauren tells him that all the missing gang members were kidnapped and killed by Richie. He also says that Richie is currently in a critical condition in the hospital. During their conversation, Lauren gets a call from her mother, and Erin tells her to take the call so they don't suspect her. After Lauren and her gang tell Erin everything, she comes to the hospital with Lauren as a hostage. Erin orders the group to disperse to find Richie's room. Soon after, the gang find Richie's room and shoot at the bed, thinking that Richie is lying there. Suddenly, Erin, in the elevator, hears the gunshots and immediately notices that the group is ambushed. She checks Lauren's phone and witnesses a conversation between Lauren and Richie. Erin becomes angry with him and plans to kill him. Fortunately, Dean is there to help him. A fierce shootout ensues between Richie's group and Erin's gang. Sensing that the situation is getting out of control, Lauren immediately contacts her mother to rush to the hospital. On the other hand, Richie's group manages to kill several of Erin's gang members. Unfortunately, one of Richie's members is shot in the arm one after the other and is immediately treated at the hospital. Dan tries to save Lauren and gets her out of the hospital. However, Erin finds out and holds him hostage so they can let him meet Richie. Richie and his friends then come out of hiding to find Erin ready to shoot her in the back. Dan manages to foil Erin's plan and kicks her gun at Richie. Richie's gun is out of ammo, so she can't kill Richie. Meanwhile, several members of the police arrive here and they immediately shoot Erin because she is considered a danger to Richie. After the incident, we see Richie lying in a hospital bed. A female detective also comes to thank them for saving her daughter. After a while, Richie throws a big party at the club, where he meets Lizzie, who tells him that he has an interest in her. However, when he asks to stay in Spain, Lizzie turns him down because she doesn't want to leave England. At the end of the film, Richie's friends look sad after he leaves for Spain and fights to avenge Charlie's death. A moment later, Richie unexpectedly appears in his private helicopter, following his friends who thought he was returning to Spain. He tells his friends that he chose to stay in England to live with them. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.